even though, of course, their own personal lives are at stake, but ultimately, it is the development of the riverine people, it is the development of the state, it is the development of Nigeria as a country. These are the paramount interests that were at stake. But without such a platform, they maintain their rigid positions, and the language was quite incendiary. Honestly, I must say that I had a sense of disappointment at the level at which they pitched their comments and insults against each other, and what the allegations that they were making against their various opponents and things like that. At this level, in the 21st century, I was expecting that we would have a greater level of civility in our electoral process and the campaign and the roles that the leaders were playing. Believe you me, these are some of the things that troubled my spirit when I was working on some documents which I've published as books. Now, one is called The Audacity of Leading Right.
So whose responsibility?
It takes audacity to lead right.
Professor, whose responsibility do you think it will be to set up that committee and for the committee to intervene in this particular instance?
Sorry, could you repeat that question? I didn't get it quite clearly.
Whose responsibility do you think it will be to convene the peace committee or the conflict resolution committee and intervene in this instance?
Look, again, sorry, the question is not too clear, but if I picked some words from there, we are talking about how how such conflict management panels can be set up. Let me give you an example. Right now we have IPAC. IPAC is the Inter-Party Advisory Committee. Now, IPAC couldn't have played this role because they are interested parties. The chairman of the IPAC is the chairman of one of the parties that come together to make this advisory council. And also, INEC cannot set up this panel because if you notice, INEC is always coming in as an interested party, rightly or wrongly. If there is any legal challenge to the outcome of any elections conducted by INEC, either INEC is joined or INEC jumps in to defend their name. And in such a situation, INEC is not well placed to set up this particular management plan. Look, we can look at examples where this have happened. South Africa, Zambia, Lesotho, they have these conflict management panels that look at various issues that arise in the electoral processes. And I believe that some lessons can be learned from them.
Well, Professor Omaji, I mean, there was this talk about one man, one vote, because right from 1999, and I hope you can hear me, there's always been this jactations and a lot of hype about our elections. But at the end of the day, a lot depends on what INEC does and the laws. Okay, I understand he can't hear me yet, so we'll hope that will be sorted before we wrap up, because it's just a couple of minutes before we go. But then we're just trying to bring to his attention the fact that we focus on INEC in 2015 elections. When they brought that card, that we asked a lot of questions. The people did too, especially when they did say, look, go and collect your cards. If you did not have your PVC, you wouldn't vote. That attempt to ensure and douse frayed nerves about it's going to be one man, one vote, no matter what politicians do or no matter what you do. But as we've seen lately, many keep asking, where is the emphasis on that? Because politicians will always do what they have to do. They'll hire whoever, and then we also seem to forget. Okay, we understand he's back. Prof, I was going to ask, ensuring that our elections, no matter what anybody does, it's just one person, one vote. The next argument that people have brought up, or next point they've brought up ever since 2015, is we should take it one step further. That the National Assembly should enshrine or amend our laws such that we can have electronic voting, so that no matter what anybody does, it is one person, one vote. Would you subscribe to that?
Of course I do. Any technology that can be deployed to increase the level of, one, transparency and the level of integrity in the system must be supported by any peace-loving person in this country, and it's happening all over the world now. But something that has occurred to me as a criminologist is that, look, there is not much penalty for electoral offenses. I'm aware that the Electoral Act had been amended to enable INEC to prosecute electoral offenders, but how much of that is happening? And I am thinking that INEC is not able to do much in this area because, one, they are overwhelmed by the level of litigation that happens after elections. Two, INEC finds itself being a party to these litigations one way or the other. So why don't we consider something that the WISE report recommended some time ago? And that is to have a standalone Electoral Offenses Commission. Of course, I am one of those people that do not favor proliferation of commissions as such, but election is a unique circumstance. We are talking about a process that advances or retrogresses our democratic dispensation. So I believe that it is too critical for the offenders within the electoral process to be left to INEC to prosecute. So the government, and this is where, of course, the National Assembly must come into, enact the necessary laws to set up this commission, and this commission will now be given the mandate to make sure that no electoral offender goes unpunished.
Professor Paul Omaji.
In criminology, we do know that.
We have to go, Prof.
Hello.
Well, yeah, I had to stop this, especially when just making that fine point of yours. But that's all the time we have this morning. Professor Paul Omaji, former Vice Chancellor, Salem University, a leadership consultant and a criminologist. Thank you very much indeed for your time and talking to us today. But then, yes, indeed, we've seen some, I think about 8 local governments have been postponed. They won't have elections as of yet until much later. But then they shouldn't also forget those who will go out there and vote. Those politicians you are fighting for, some of them, you see the amount of security they go with. They drive bulletproof cars. They wear bulletproof vests and all sorts of things. And you ask yourself, those who have lost their lives, what kind of attention will be given to the families? Well, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Well, that's the show today. We thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Osa.
Well, there was definitely plenty of takeaway from Professor Omaji's submissions, and we're hoping that somebody will still be listening. That committee is not too late. It can still be set up because really, if elections are yet to hold in certain areas, they can hold in peace. Well, thank you so much for watching. I'm Maokbe Ogun.
Thank you. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
Goodbye.